What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning into another edition of On the Road to Victory. I'm your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a great Thursday night. I am just finally getting this recorded, the top 10 matchups. So I appreciate you taking the time. Any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below. This is not a live video. Tomorrow we'll be live for Fan Friday, so I hope to see you all there. All the Drews and Ninas out there, Tims, everybody, I hope you're doing well. Appreciate you all taking the time and hope to hear from you tomorrow. But let's jump right into this bad boy, talking about the top 10 matchups between the Eagles and Commanders here in Week 10. We're going to go through, we're going to look at the team stats, where they rank, the divisional and conference standings, and then the top 10 matchups. So let's jump right into this bad boy with the stats and where they rank. Both of these teams, we talked about how the Commanders have done the other day, but in case you missed it, here it is, 26th in points per game, 21st in total yards. The one thing they're not doing is fumbling the ball, but other than that, bottom tier offense for the Washington Commanders. Then on the defensive side of the ball, middle of the pack, 16th in points allowed, 14th yards allowed, 18th against the pass, 11th against the run there. But you see, not getting many turnovers there. This team, definitely a struggling team, but it's got lots of talent, which we will talk about here. But the Philadelphia Eagles on the other side, they have been manhandling people. Second in points per game, third in yards per game. And you see, ninth in passing, sixth in running the ball. Giving up a lot of sacks, though. Do not like that, almost 3 per game. But we are first in turnovers per game at only 0.4. So you love to see that. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, this defense continues to improve. But the one issue they have is stopping that run. So 20th in the league, giving up 121.4 yards per game. Disgusting. But still, third in total yards per game given up and fourth in points. So we talk about bend, don't break. Very familiar with, the Jim Johnson defense I grew up watching. Jonathan Gannon will give up the little plays, but it would be great if people started tackling. I think this defense would look even better. But number one in turnovers. So the turnover differential, we're obviously number one. And this team means business. Now we are 3.3. That leaves us third in the league with sacks per game. But those are, you got to take it all with a grain of salt. But those are some skewed stats there. You had the 9 sacks against Carson Wentz. I just think this pass rush needs to continue improving. But overall, a great offense and a very good defense. So you see that. Now let's see where it leaves these teams so far this season. We'll take a look at the division and the conference. And obviously, we're in both the same division and conference. So let's take a look at the NFC East here. Philadelphia Eagles at the top, 8-0. You've got the Cowboys and Giants trailing at 6-2. And then the Commanders down there at the bottom at 4-5. But they are moving up the NFC ranks. The Cowboys and Giants have continued to hold on to those first 2 wild card spots, flip-flopping there for a couple weeks. But other than that, the Commanders were near the bottom. They have started to move up 9th in the league. Wouldn't that be something if they could get that 7th spot and have all 4 teams of the NFC East in the playoffs? That would be pretty wild, but they've got a long ways to go and a lot of question marks for their team. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles just need to continue to grow and get better each week, and that's what we hope that they do this week. 1-0 every week. Let's go out, beat those Commanders, and go 9-0. So without further ado, let's jump right into this top 10 matchups here. And, I added some honorable mentions just because there were some things I wanted to talk about. And, I threw this together the old school way where I just talk about the Eagles defense first and their matchups and then the Eagles offense. I didn't do it where the numbers actually mean something, my top 10 in that sense. But this gives me a way to do that. And it's been crazy the last few days, so we're just going to jump right into this. And first off, I want to start with an honorable mention because, I made the 10, and I was like, man, we got to have that pass rush in here, and we've talked about it. So Charles Leno and Sam Cosmi, their tackles, they're going to have their hands full. Newly acquired Robert Quinn, you see there. Obviously, Hassan Reddick, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham in there. So we need to get after Taylor Heineke here. And there is just no excuses for this pass rush not to continue to improve. So I hope they do that this week. But we're starting off here at number 10, and that is interior. We're going Hargrave and Cox. We know Jordan Davis is out. These guys need to step it up. Hargrave has been stepping it up. Oh, my Lord. But the interior of Washington here, they added Andrew Norwell this year. Larson is back, and now Sadiq Charles is starting at right guard. So those two right there are different from when we last played them. They had Wes Schweitzer in there at center, and then I believe Trey Turner was the right guard. So a little different there, but I think that our defensive tackles and the rest of the depth should be able to get some work in there. So Hargrave, Cox, go feast, shut it down, take away their run, because you know they are going to try to establish that run. Now, one of their weapons we're going to talk about here, Logan Thomas. We thought the tight end position would be featured a little bit more for this Washington team when Carson Wentz was the quarterback, but no longer is he. And now you've got Thomas there with Heinicke as the quarterback. Now, this dude is very talented, somebody that started off as a quarterback. We have talked about him the last couple of years. He's been on Washington, and at any time, this guy can eat you alive. And we've got a good secondary to handle these receivers, so we'll see if we can shut down Logan Thomas. Kaiser White has done great helping out with these tight ends. We'll see if we use some safety help or whatever it is, but love to see if we could shut him down. Now, one of the things they're going to be, definitely featuring is Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson. Now, Robinson hasn't taken more snaps than Gibson yet, but he is working his way up to it, that thunder and lightning. And look, TJ Edwards, leader of this defense, going to have to do all he can to get these guys on the same page, stop missing tackles, and shut down this run, make them one-dimensional. That is the key for the Eagles to go out and dominate. Now, we've talked about this. They're like 21st in rushing, so they haven't been doing it too great. Don't have the greatest offensive line, so tear it up, defense. Let's go. Shut it down, and let's start getting things together against the run. Now, when you talk about these receivers they have, Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, and you saw the injury report from earlier, Jahan Dotson, he was limited today, so he may be back this week. And last time, this was definitely a fun one to talk about, Slay, Bradbury, Maddox, but it's not Carson Wentz, the gunslinger out here. It's Taylor Heinicke, and the kid is talented, and he's going to try to get the ball, obviously, to the wide receivers, especially with that much talent, but they're going to have their hands full. I don't care what receiver it is, who they are. We've got ourselves quite the secondary. Now, Avonte Maddox was also on that injury report show from today, so go check that out. Definitely some concerns. We'll see what will happen throughout the week, but we'll keep our eye on that one. But either way, going to be a great matchup to watch. The Eagles have been, really good against the pass. We talked about that, and I think that, this is going to be one of the tougher tests, and without Carson Wentz getting sacked every play, maybe we get a better chance to see the matchups here. Now, up next, Taylor Heinicke. This is the guy we've been talking about. And look, he's got to do all he possibly can, to get the ball out quickly. I think we're going to be able to get some pressure. And if we can make them one-dimensional, this kid doesn't make too many mistakes, but I think we could force him to cause some turnovers, get some sacks on him. I think Carson Wentz, not that great, but at least he's better than Taylor Heinicke. So, the one thing he doesn't do, though, is wild out like Carson Wentz. So that will be interesting to see. But it's kind of like the same quarterback. Nick Sirianni had mentioned the other day, you don't really have to change the game planning too much. Kind of the same deal, just without so much stupidity, I guess would be the difference there. But I think that he's still going to give us a run for our money. This team is going to come out hungry. They want to be the first team to beat us. Everybody's sleeping on them. We cannot afford to sleep on this team. So we shall see. Now let's get into the offensive side of the ball for the Eagles, and we're going to start it off with an honorable mention before we get into these top five. And, this one, oh my God. I mean, this should be one of the top matchups just because Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen, two of the best defensive tackles in the game, on the same team, lining up against each other, going up against Dickerson, Kelsey, and Seumalo, the interior of the Eagles offensive line. That is going to be really fun to watch. Their defensive tackles can get after the quarterback, shut down the run. They can do it all. So, going to be a huge test for the interior offensive line of the Eagles. Definitely looking forward to that. Now, number 5, we're looking outside line here. Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, and they have got themselves a test in Josh Sweat. But the question is, will Chase Young be available? So we talked about in the video earlier today at practice, would he return in time? Well, only time will tell, but if not, you've got yourself James Smith-Williams, who would step in again, just like the last time we played them, but that would be a huge addition to get Chase Young back. Now, number 4, we've got ourselves Jamin Davis, very athletic guy. They're going to have to try to use Bobby McCain to help out on Dallas Goedert, but went with Davis here, see if the athletic linebacker is used, because they're going to have to try to shut down this offense. Best of luck to you where you want to attack, but Dallas Goedert, I think, is going to feast in this game. So I think they're going to need a little bit of help from the linebackers and safeties on that one. Now, this matchup, top three here. Number 3, A.J. Brown. This dude has been lighting it up, showing he is one of the best receivers in the game. And Kendall Fuller has got himself his hands full. Now, this is not to say that Devontae Smith and St. Juice isn't a great matchup, or Danny Johnson trying to cover Quez Watkins. I think those are great matchups, but what I want to see here is the number 1 versus the number 1, and I think A.J. Brown is going to do some work. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they put St. Juice on to A.J. Brown just because of that size difference here. So go out, body bag these dudes. Let's go Birds. Now at number 2, run the damn ball. Miles Sanders, baby. Hand that ball off. Let him continue to do his thing. He's been having a great year. And look, Cole Holcomb was banged up. He did not practice today. We talked about that earlier. And, that's going to be something to watch. He has definitely improved a lot. And he's going to do all he possibly can to shut down Miles Sanders. They're going to have to use that old defense. But pound that rock right down their throats. And I think, look, regardless of if this team is healthy, injured, whatever it may be, I just think that the Eagles, obviously, we have a better team. But the thing you have to remember is, it's a divisional matchup. These guys are going to come out swinging. And look, the first game, we were just putting them on their ass, and I love every second of it. And one of the things we didn't do, though, in that first week was Miles Sanders running the ball. I just really think we got away from it. You saw a huge game from Devontae last time, but I think AJ could be the guy. That's why we talk about it this, in this top 3 here. I think it could be his turn this week. They're going to be doing all they can to shut everybody down. But one thing I'd like to see is running the damn ball this time, because he only had 40-some yards in week 3, and we need to up that, dude. So pound that rock right down their throats. Keep Jalen Hurts healthy. Maybe only have to throw the ball 15, 20 times. Pound that rock 25 plus times. That's what I'm all about. Now, Jalen Hurts, number 1 here, baby. This dude went out and balled last time we played him. 340 yards, 3 touchdowns. This dude was balling. So if you need to pass, I'm perfectly fine with it. But again, I'd like to see us pound the rock. But this Washington defense is going to have their hands full with the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts leading the way. So I see the Eagles pulling off a pretty big win here, and we'll continue to talk about that throughout the week. But that is the top 10 matchups to keep your eyes on Monday. Eagles versus Commanders live at the Link. But tomorrow I will be back. And usually you have your game status report, but because the game is on Monday, the game status report will not be until Saturday. So we'll talk about that on Saturday. But tomorrow night, we'll be live. Fan Friday, it will be live. So I look forward to talking to each and every one of you. Hope you've all been having yourselves a great week. Wanted to test this out with just the way my week is set up, recording these videos and then posting them. And then we'll do live a couple times a week. We're going to see how it works. Let me know how you guys feel about it, how you like it. Comment down below your thoughts on the top 10 matchups. Which was your favorite matchup? Maybe there was something I didn't mention. Let me know about that too. I'd love to hear whatever is on your mind. But I appreciate each and every one of you taking the time. If you need me, you want to talk about birds, life, whatever it is, I'm always here for you, just as you are for me. Can't thank you enough for taking the time again, though. So thank you. Have yourselves a great Thursday. Hope you win some money. But I hope to see you tomorrow for Fan Friday. But until then, I'm Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. You all stay safe out there. And as always, go Birds!